Okay, my name is Mona Saif. I'm 24 years old. I'm a postgraduate student in a breast cancer research laboratory in Cairo University, and I'm here.
Have you ever been politically active before?
Yes, I come from a family with a very big history of political activism. My dad has been imprisoned when I was a baby. I was actually born when he was in prison, and he's a human rights lawyer. My mother is an activist. My brother is an activist. So sort of comes in the family. But me personally, with my own free choice, I've been active since 2006, since the big movement of the independence of the judiciary system from the government.
And are there a lot of young people involved in that movement?
Back in 2006, yes, it was a big movement where a lot of young people, and this was the year where the power of the blogosphere in Egypt sort of really appeared and took place. So yes, it was.
Can you tell us the role of social media?
I don't know if this is the case in all places, but I definitely know that somehow in Egypt we have a way of manipulating any tool that reaches out and gets you into a network with other people, into mobilizing and into calling for political action. So it's been like a very important tool for spreading news, for organizing events, for calling for events, preparing banners, preparing slogans, building up for the demonstrations. Like for example, Khalid Saeed case, which was a big case last year. He was a young boy killed brutally by the police, and it changed the political scene basically among the young generation. Most of the organization of when is the protest and where are the protests and what form would it take, it was done through Facebook mainly.
And how about this protest? How was Facebook used?
This protest, the initial, like at the beginning, at the very early stage, the social media definitely played a big role in sending out the message and building up the people in propagating the message. So that would be Facebook and Twitter, and also between the organizer, because this is one of the events that has been organized by many groups working with in the street on political reform and social reform. So they have used this to communicate together and to arrange with lawyers to provide legal aid in case of any arrests and so on. But I think from day one, once this became not just a regular demo, rather a big movement, the presence or absence of social media for me was only significant for media coverage. Like social networks was only significant for media coverage, but not for the movement. I think the movement from this moment took its own life, and it would have happened whether or not there was any social networks.
Can you talk about the role of young women in this movement?
Just like any young people out there, this is a huge movement where young people it touches particularly on the problems of young people, boys or girls, and we are all here together. And like yesterday, where there were lots of shots and we've had many wounded and 5 or 4 confirmed. I'm not sure if they were 5. That it was all about the young people going there and protecting us and fending off the thugs. So it's a movement of the people, but I think it means something really different for the young generation and the girls included. But I'm not sure if I should separate the girls from the boys in that.
Have you slept here at all during these days?
Yes, I've slept most of the days except for one day, where I stayed till very late and then left. As a girl, the one thing that is totally different for me in this experience is I used to have problems with sexual harassment, for example, and these past 9 days were the first days I can remember in my adult life where I felt completely at home and at ease with all of the people in the street, regardless of how they look like, what's their background, or if I know them or not. I just felt completely at home and I belong with those people.
When you say sexual harassment, what are you speaking about?
Everything from like verbal harassment while you're walking in the street, and this is fine. We got used to this bouncing off, but we used to have lots of people stopping your way, blocking your way, trying to touch your body or grab your body. So sexual harassment has been an issue that's constantly on any girl's mind living in Egypt. And for me, it was such a huge transformation to suddenly be among people where you walk thousands and you're very close, you sleep in very close proximity, and all you share is really sort of a mutual admiration for the bravery of you two being at this spot at this minute together.
So you were here last night when all of a sudden there started hearing gunshots. Can you tell us what happened?
Yes, well, there was sort of an escalation for the process. The beginning, it was just rocks and sharp elements like sharp glass. Some people said knives. I haven't seen them. And then we started seeing the Molotov cocktails being thrown at us from the top of the roof. Until then, it was not a fair fight, but it was something we could handle. All of the clashes were over there where the Egyptian Museum is. Like the rest of the square was really a safe area. And then we started hearing gunshots, and there were gunshots. There was the one person we spotted was one person with a rifle on the bridge, and he was aiming at protesters. So it wasn't just warning gunshots; he was aiming at protesters. One of the protesters got a gunshot through his head, and he fell in front of my friend. So we have eyewitnesses for this. It was scary, but not scary for me. I felt very safe. The center of the Tahrir Square was completely safe. It was safe enough for anyone to go sleep if they want. What was scary for me, the way with which all of these young older men, just went off to face thugs, armored thugs, and they knew they had nothing to defend them. They had no weapons on them, and yet they kept on going, and they dragged back the wounded and the dead, and then they kept on going. And for me, this was the scary bit, how they walk willingly to that.
So while we're speaking, there are people praying here. Is there pressure on people to pray?
Not
Is there
at all.
division between
Not at all.
the more
You can
religious?
look around and like people are playing, people are walking, like all of the issues that usually are the hotspot of talk about problems in Egypt. So Christian and Muslim issues or secular issues, sexual harassment, division of the classes. Somehow they seem to completely disappear in Tahrir Square. Tahrir Square is the Egypt we all like. Out of it is not.
How do you think this will evolve?
Well, I was very optimistic 2 days ago, and then yesterday happened. So I'm not I'm sure he's going down. I could see how resilient they are, even after we lost a lot of people yesterday. They woke up this morning chanting and singing, and it looked very charming and very endearing seeing people wounded and with band-aids, and they are still chanting and singing and joking about it. So I know he's going down.
He is Mubarak.
As in Mubarak, he is going down. I just wish, every day I wish he'd do it right now to spare us more unnecessary death.
So for the people overseas who are watching this, and especially for young women who are inspired by people like you, in fact many heard you on Al Jazeera last night. I'm crying to say it because it was so emotional. What is your message for them?
Just that when, I don't know, like the unthinkable could actually happen. When we planned for this, there were lots of jokes that we also participated in about how you cannot plan a revolution and how you cannot call for a revolution on January 25th. And it took us by surprise, but it happened, and it just happened. So basically, whenever you have a chance, just give it a try, and one day it's gonna strike right and it's gonna happen.
And what can people do in solidarity with you?
I think a lot of people are already doing a lot of what we needed. We needed media coverage. We've been having it greatly. Our National TV has completely betrayed us, completely. We would be here thousands, they would show the square empty. We would be here asking for the liberation of Egypt, they would be calling us spies and I don't know, spies and outsiders. So basically media coverage really helped, and definitely to pressure older governments to stop supporting regimes like Mubarak's regime.
So lastly, despite the violence, you still feel optimistic?
Yes. I feel even yesterday when we had the people dying, I was very angry that nobody was stopping this. But I knew the day before it, when Mubarak gave his speech, a lot of people turned against us, and they were like, give him a chance, and they were. Suddenly there was talk about how he should be allowed to have a dignified escape of or a dignified leave of the power, and it really pissed me off. I couldn't understand why should he have any dignified anything after 30 years of oppression while we have people dying here. And even though yesterday was really brutal, but it brought people back to their senses. We have today more than 300,000 people joining us after what they heard yesterday. So it had an effect. It meant something. At least we didn't lose them for nothing.
And do you think that this will take a long time?
I don't think so. I don't know if this is my optimistic self or is this true. But I'm every time Mubarak decides to come up and give us a speech, he shows another weak layer to him. I believe after what happened yesterday, a lot of the international support he was gaining has been withdrawn. So and last time already he gave, his speech was completely ridiculous, but it showed how vulnerable he is to come out in public and say he tried to talk with the opposition and they refused, but the offer is still open. This is weak. So I think he just needs another push, and we are going to do it.
Thank you for being so inspiring and for what you're doing for Egypt and for the world.